I mean, where do I even begin? For context, this was to be my final work trip with a job that took me travelling around the world. In fact, I didn't know that this trip was on the cards for me and had accepted that my previous one would be my last. I was to conduct research in Majuro Marshall Islands and Koror, Palau, which are island nations in the Pacific. To get there from London and back would take me around the world. Quite literally. So the journey started on a Wednesday morning with an 11-hour flight to LA in the US and another 6-hour flight to Honolulu, Hawaii, where I stayed for a night. I'd flown for a total of 17 hours, not counting the 3.5-hour layover, and it was still Wednesday when I arrived. I then flew the next morning on Thursday for 5.5 hours to Majuro Marshall Islands, during which the plane crossed the international date line and landed on Friday instead. Mad. I think I was a little bit delirious from all the flying. I did my work and had time to visit Eniko Island of the Majuro Atoll and met lovely people along the way. I then caught the island hopper 2 days later, which stopped off at Pohnpei and Chuuk in Micronesia, and finally landed in Guam, where I had about 5 hours to explore before flying off again. Got back on a plane to fly to Koror, Palau, which was my final work destination. Had a lovely time. It was probably the most humid location I've ever visited. You see, through the job I'd become pretty accustomed to working in oppressive heat, but I didn't feel like I could walk from one end of the road to the other without taking breaks in shops. Anyway, my time in Palau had come to an end, and the work portion of the trip was over. I then took just over a week's holiday in the Philippines. Here is a little bit of what I saw and got up to there in the Philippines. Enjoy.